My aunt demands I pay off her debt because I wouldn't be successful without the family. The envelope was thick, the kind lawyers use for official documents. My Aunt Veronica handed it to me across the table at the coffee shop, like she was doing me a favor. Inside was an itemized invoice on actual letterhead. She'd had it printed, listing 17 years of family investment in my development. Dates, descriptions, dollar amounts next to each entry. Birthday gifts, $4,200. Christmas presents, $3,800. Graduation money, $1,500. The list went on for 3 pages. Every gift and gesture she claimed the family had given me since I was 8 years old, tallied with interest, calculated at 8% annually. The total at the bottom, highlighted in yellow, $86,340. She sipped her latte, said this was the amount I owed the family for making me who I am today. She expected payment within 90 days. Her credit card debt had gotten out of control. I was clearly doing well enough to help. I stared at the invoice, at the professionally formatted columns, the precise calculations. Something cold settled in my stomach. This wasn't a joke or an emotional outburst. This was planned, calculated, completely insane. I'd been working as a software engineer in Seattle for 3 years, building a career at a mid-sized tech company. Good pay, good benefits. I lived in a decent apartment in Capitol Hill, drove a reliable car, had finally paid off my student loans 6 months earlier. My life was stable and normal, in ways it had never been growing up. I'd worked for everything I had, put myself through community college first to save money, then transferred to University of Washington, worked full-time through most of college, writing code for freelance clients, doing IT support on campus to pay tuition and rent. I'd graduated with $32,000 in student loans, a decent GPA, a job offer. The success I'd achieved was mine. My family situation had always been complicated. My parents divorced when I was 6. My mother struggled with addiction issues, made her unreliable at best. I bounced between her apartment and my father's house, depending on which parent was more stable. My father remarried when I was 9, to a woman named Patricia, 2 kids of her own. Suddenly, I was the odd one out, in a blended family that never quite blended. My Aunt Veronica was my father's older sister, never married, no children, saw herself as the family matriarch. She hosted holiday dinners, organized birthday parties, made sure everyone stayed connected. She worked as an office manager at a dental practice, lived in the same house she'd inherited from my grandparents. The person who remembered everyone's birthdays, sent cards with checks for $20 inside. She seemed generous and caring. I'd always thought of her as one of the more stable adults. Looking at the invoice, I realized I'd misunderstood everything. This wasn't kindness or family love. This was an investment she'd been tracking all along, waiting for the moment when I was successful enough to collect on what she considered a debt. I asked her if she was serious. She nodded, completely serious. The family had supported me through difficult years. Now that I was doing well, it was time to pay them back. I pointed out that these were gifts, given freely without any expectation of repayment. She leaned forward. That's not how family works. Family helps family with the understanding that help flows both ways. I wouldn't have made it through college without the family's support, wouldn't have had the stability to focus on school, wouldn't have become successful without the foundation they provided. I asked her what support she meant specifically. She listed the birthday money, the occasional dinners at her house, the Christmas gifts, the time she let me stay at her place for a week when I was 15 and my parents were fighting. I remembered that week differently than she apparently did. I'd asked to stay with Veronica. My mother had relapsed. My father was on his honeymoon with Patricia. I had nowhere else to go. Veronica had grudgingly agreed, made it clear I was an inconvenience, given me a list of chores, criticized how I loaded the dishwasher, complained about how much food teenage boys ate, made me feel like a burden every single day. The support she was now claiming credit for had felt more like obligation and resentment. I pointed this out as gently as I could. Veronica's expression hardened. I was being ungrateful and selfish. She'd sacrificed her time and money when she didn't have to. I told Veronica I wasn't paying the invoice. Gifts weren't loans. I didn't owe the family anything for being given birthday presents as a child. Her voice got louder, attracting attention from nearby tables. I was being selfish and forgetting where I came from. She'd helped raise me when my parents couldn't. Been a stable presence in my life. I owed her gratitude and financial support. I stood up, said this conversation was over, that I loved her, but I wasn't going to be manipulated into paying for gifts I never asked for. She grabbed my wrist as I turned to leave. Her grip surprisingly strong. If I walked away, I was walking away from the entire family. She'd make sure everyone knew how I'd abandoned them in their time of need. That's when I realized this was just the beginning. Full story is linked below or on my channel.